Welcome to the next installment in my video lecture series in economics. And in this particular video lecture, I'm going to be taking a look at the equilibrium effects of an increase in export employment. This particular video lecture relates to my urban economics class, in particular Chapter 5, Figure 5-3. So here we have a labor market in this particular city. We have the standard upward sloping labor supply curve and the standard sloping, downward sloping labor demand curve. So where these two intersect gives us the equilibrium wage rate and the equilibrium employment level in this particular city. So in this particular city, the daily wage is equal to $100 a day and 100 employees are working in this particular city. So let's have what is referred to as a shock in the system that impacts demand. In particular, let's say there's an increase in the demand for a product that's being produced in this city and is being exported to another city. So there's going to be an increase in demand for that product, which means there's going to be an increase in the demand for labor. So the new labor demand curve shifts to the right, reflecting this increase in the demand for that export product and the demand for the labor services. So what I want you to realize is that obviously, as we talk about other equilibriums, that we move to a new equilibrium point where the new labor demand intersects the original supply. However, I want you to realize that this is not an instantaneous change. We do not move from this point here to this point here instantaneously. There is a bit of an adjustment period. In particular, the wages themselves will be what is referred to as sticky, that they don't adjust quickly. So the wage rate will stay the same, and as you can see here, that at that wage rate, now employers want to employ 140 workers at $100, but only 100 people want to work and supply labor at that price. So we have a shortage of workers in this marketplace. Companies are now demanding 140 when the wage rate is $100, but individuals only want to supply 10 labor units, or 10 individuals want to work at that $100 daily wage rate. So companies are now attempting to hire people at $100 and they can't hire anybody. There's nobody willing to work at that particular daily wage rate. So what happens is that these firms have to raise the wage rate. So as they raise the wage rate, we can see that we're going to be moving up the labor supply curve, because as the wage rate goes up, more and more people are going to be willing to work. But also what happens is that as the wage rate goes up, the companies are going to be demanding fewer and fewer workers. So the wage rate is going to creep upwards until we get to a wage rate where the quantity of labor supplied is equal to the quantity of labor demanded, which is at that point here. So we can see here that the new equilibrium is going to be a daily wage rate of $115, and the employment in that industry is going to increase, and that city is going to increase to 115. Once the wage rate slowly rises to that point, as it's rising, the shortage of workers is getting smaller and smaller, and then once we get to the equilibrium wage rate of 115, the quantity of labor supplied at that $115 a day wage is going to be equal to the quantity of labor demanded at that daily wage rate. So make sure you realize that oftentimes students think that this is an instantaneous change, that we move from this point here to this point instantaneously. That is not the case. There is an adjustment period. The wages do not change instantaneously. They will be sticky. They will remain at the original equilibrium. Because of the new demand for labor, firms are going to want to hire more people that are available at that wage rate or willing to work at that wage rate. So the wage rate will slowly creep upwards until we get to the new equilibrium point. And this is an equilibrium because the quantity of labor supplied at $115 a day is equal to the quantity of labor demanded at $115.